Little DJ Cummerbund, Disturbed Stevie Wonder mashup. You know, it's not going to be much longer, only a few years away from Disturbed being eligible for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What do you think about Disturbed? That's a band that doesn't really land with a lot of people. I mean, they're a very, very popular band. They've sold tens of millions of records. But I don't know, it's a band that springs to mind when you think of that new crop that could conceivably go into the Rock Hall. But I think they should be in there.
A lot of people like Disturbed.
How about the Black Crowes? That's a band, right? They're opening the Aerosmith tour.
They're more my speed.
Well,
but whatever. They're gonna put in some. They're gonna put in,
Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, or like next year though. Like it'll just be like Pink or something.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because they announced.
Pink's great too. So who cares?
It's funny that they announced that Missy Elliott is stopping in Cleveland. I think she might have added Cleveland on her tour. It's her and Busta Rhymes and somebody else. You want to talk about an underrated rapper, Busta Rhymes. When you talk about guys that could just rap with the quickness, he was awesome. But it's funny, in the press release where they refer to Missy Elliott as Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, and I forgot that she was in there. Last year, I think, Missy Elliott went in. And she looks great. It's like the poster is, and I forget who the third artist is, Sierra somebody, not Russell Wilson's Sierra, but I think somebody named Sierra. Younger.
Sierra's an artist.
I'm sorry?
My goodies. That one?
Well, that's Russell Wilson's wife is Sierra. Oh. But the Missy Elliott Sierra, I think, is another, maybe an up-and-coming artist. Missy Elliott and Busta Rhymes. But the poster for them is like them in like all this like black Mad Max gear. Oh, maybe it is Sierra. They had like
that's the only Sierra.
Well, they had like a full name for her, like Sierra Banks or something. I'm like, well, she's married to Russell Wilson. I don't know if so. Maybe she's Busta Rhymes, Sierra, and Timbaland. And coming to Cleveland in, I think she's added the date. So I don't know if it's on her thing yet. But, oh, yeah, there it is, August 14th. They added Toronto, Cleveland, Chicago, and Orlando. So August 14th, Missy, those tickets, I don't know when they go on sale. But she's in, I always forget that she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mentioned at the top of the show, but I'm going to be talking about it a lot because it's a lot of fun. The Funny Bus. MMS doing the Funny Bus again this year, the Cleveland Funny Bus. If you were able to join us for this last year, I don't have to sell you on it. But if you weren't able to get on last year, we're giving you more chances to do it because we're going to start up again every Wednesday in May and June. Not today, beginning next Wednesday. Every Wednesday in May and June, Bill and I are going to be alternating weeks hosting the Cleveland Funny Bus, which is, as the name implies, your tour guide are local comedians who are all very funny, very skilled at doing this, by the way. That's a tough, you got to spin a couple of plates there. When you're telling people about what's going on in the neighborhoods, it's a 90-minute tour through the various neighborhoods of Cleveland. And the comedians who are doing this are very funny. Bill and I will be along to host MMS and the Funny Bus, the Alan Cox Show and the Funny Bus, quite frankly. You can go to funnybus.net to get tickets. I'll be your host on week 1. That is next Wednesday. I will have tickets for you to win here Monday and Tuesday. It's BYOB. Don't sleep on that. But your ticket gets you a couple of drink. We leave from Collision Bend.
Bring your own beans.
Yeah. Down there in the flats. We start and end there. But you can bring your own beer and wine, whatever you want. But Collision Bend has got a lot of good brews over there. So it's a lot of fun. I'm so happy that we're doing this again. So funnybus.net. The tickets go very quickly. So if there's a week you know you can go, it's every Wednesday in May and June. Then look into that. Tickets are $33. It's a mere pittance for the good time you're going to have. So Monday and Tuesday, you want to win tickets from me, I will have them. But otherwise, you can buy them at funnybus.net.
Alan, you gotta quit playing that Crash. Every time the guy says, "Hey Siri, call 911," my iPad starts calling 911, and I have to run over and shut it off. Stop.
Oh, man, I certainly don't want to get anybody in trouble with that.
Just play the part where he says, "I crashed my flying machine."
Yeah.
Help!
911 emergency.
Help me, please. I crashed my flying machine.
I mean, listen, I
these are
don't.
terrible
I feel
things.
awful for the guy, but I crashed my flying machine
It's funny.
It's a silly sentence.
because what else are you going to say? This guy at least has the wherewithal to go, okay, if I say motorized paraglider, she's not going to have any idea what I'm talking about. I crashed my flying machine. And he's probably had that conversation with other people. Oh, I make videos of me in this motorized paraglider. And they go, what the hell is that? Well, it's a flying machine. High above the air, right? I mean, we're watching a thing, parachutes predate aviation. So a long time ago, people who were parachutists in the early days would jump out of hot air balloons. And some of them were fine. Others weren't. We were watching a thing about people who had done these early parachutes and people trying to, who were doing wingsuits. And one guy, this is maybe mid-70s, there was one guy who was going to be the first person to film jumping out of an airplane with a parachute, right? He was going to be the first guy to film that. And so the recording device, obviously, was much more rudimentary. So he had to have a camera bolted to his helmet or something. I think this was in the 70s.
It's like that one that Homer uses to spy on.
Yes.
On Apu, and it's the big giant cowboy hat.
Yeah. So this guy is getting ready. He's jumping with some other people. He's going to be the first guy to visually record this amazing feat, right? Going to jump out 15,000 feet. He's not like up there with jetliners. 15,000 feet, this guy goes up, and he's got his camera. He's checked it, and he's double-checked it, and he's triple-checked it, and this camera's ready to go. It's going to be amazing footage, and this guy jumps out of the plane. He had been so focused on the camera, he forgot to put a parachute on. And he fell
That's what I would do.
15,000 feet.
I'd be the same way.
So imagine
Silly goose.
you all the way down, you're filming. This guy fell 85 feet. Imagine you are filming yourself.
Mhm.
You're filming your death.
Yeah.
Because you ain't walking away. This guy's not an iPhone,
Oh, man.
But imagine that.
Oh.
Because the second you step out, and the people that he was jumping with, he saw them
Mm-hmm.
pull their chutes.
Yeah.
And he's like, time for me. That second there when you,
Yikes.
you jump out and you go, why am I so light? But he probably didn't even notice that because he was heavier because of the camera on his head.
Yeah. It's like when you forget, lock your keys in your car, and you're like, man, I'm an idiot. Times like a million.
Can you still lock your keys in your car?
Yes.
Some cars can.
Can they?
My car can, but
If you have a key fob, how would you not?
How would you not lock? Well, your fob is in your hand.
well, like my car won't lock.
Right, that's
If
what I'm
the
saying.
key-
Like
yeah.
some cars won't. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously
Mine
older
will.
cars.
I've done it.
You can lock your keys in your car.
I've done it. Yeah, where I'll be cleaning my car, and I'll have the keys on the front seat or something, and then I'll shut the door, and the doors are locked, and I'm like, well, there it is. I gotta call the cops now.
Really?
Yeah,
You don't have AAA?
or AAA, whatever.
What did she say?
The cops.
Call the cops.
The
Whoever.
cops.
Somebody's gonna come get my keys out.
Yeah. Well, AAA might be better than.
That's the sound of the police.
So you don't have an extra fob. You have one fob.
No, I called them the last time I locked my keys in my car, and I was like, hey, I called the dealership, and they're like, yeah, we actually got that car at auction, so it didn't come with an extra
Oh.
fob. But you can have one made for $300.
I was
But
gonna
that
say you go on eBay and you can get one. They're like $200 for a new
doesn't
fob.
help me right now.
Right. Hey, eBay, how quickly can you get a fob to me?
Bob-a-da-bop.
Fob-a-da-bop. Yeah, okay. But, yeah, locking your keys in your car. But you really got to give it up for the people who were, like, there have always been people like this guy. It's just people weren't always filming it. The people who were devising these early wingsuits, they would draw these things out. And they would go, I'm going to test out my wingsuit.
Icarus. We just talked about him a couple weeks ago.
Flew too close to the sun, baby, on wings of wax.
Wingsuit.
But this guy who was working on one in the
Wax wings seems like they wouldn't actually work.
Well, it is all
No, the feathers were
myth
held together with wax.
with the wax.
Oh.
It wasn't fully
Okay,
wax.
I was gonna say like full. All right, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that'd be real heavy.
But there was a guy
Didn't
who
have
was
glue. They didn't know how to kill horses and turn them into glue yet.
So
in ancient Greece. I don't know about that. Well, they were also making up a whole lot of things. so-
Also, when you go higher, it gets colder.
yeah,
but you're
So
too close to
stupid.
the
too close.
sun.
He got so close to the sun. He went through the ionosphere. He went through all the spheres.
I don't think it's a true story.
Well,
I mean,
you're
we
wrong.
learned about it in Western civilization. We learned about it in history class. So I always took it.
What's next? Pirates of the Caribbean isn't real, Bill? Grow up.
There was pirates and there was a Caribbean, so it's somewhat real.
Mm-hmm.
This guy devising his own wingsuit because this is a French guy. He had seen an American built a parachute, jumped out of a balloon or something. He's like, that looks great. I'm a smart guy. I'm going to develop my own wingsuit. So this guy had like a 3rd or 4th floor apartment, and he was testing it out. He was a tailor by trade. He's like, oh, this wingsuit craze. I'm going to be the first guy to do it here in Gay Paris. And so he makes this wingsuit. And he tested it by tossing mannequins with the wingsuit out of his 4th floor apartment. And of course, they would crash to the street. He's like, all right, I've got to make some modifications to this thing. And he would re-sew some things. And again, I don't know how much information he had or knowledge of fundamental aerodynamics, whatever. It is this big old thing. And he'd throw another mannequin out This guy had a lot of mannequins, I guess. And it would maybe float a little bit, but then ultimately fall to the ground. So this guy makes a couple more modifications. He goes, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to jump off the Eiffel Tower. And I'm going to show all y'all that I'm going to go flying around. This is going to be great. His friends were like, please don't do this. Like very old-timey video footage of this, whatever the projector was back then.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy stands there at the edge, and he pauses for a second, and then he steps off the ledge of the Eiffel Tower. Hit the ground in 2 seconds. This guy died on impact. They were showing all the people gathering around. There's like a Frenchie-shaped indentation in the ground, but these are the people who had to, I guess, he probably didn't further the cause of aerodynamics in any way, but
hey, they learned what not to do.
yeah. Flash forward to the Red Bull dudes, who are flying through the canyons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. They died so that so many other people could wing their way through these nations' national parks and beautiful. I was reading about this dude that got in trouble because he not only got in trouble, he got attacked because he was drunk and kicked a bison. You can't. I always feel now.
Huge, dude.
I
They're
feel
huge.
for forest rangers now. Not only are you underfunded and underappreciated, but you're constantly dealing with grown-ass men and women who are hammered, have no concept of what's happening in nature. A guy in Yellowstone National Park was intoxicated and went up and kicked a bison in the leg. And then he got smacked by this animal. They said that other people were telling the park rangers, hey, there's a guy over here who's harassing a herd of bison. A herd. This guy's got balls. Liquid courage, I believe they call it, Bill. And he kicked a bison. 40-year-old guy. And they had to take him to the hospital. And then he got arrested, obviously, because he was under the influence. He was drinking heavily in a national park. You're not supposed to approach the wildlife. But people do this all the time.
They have to put signs everywhere. And then
Do not approach the wildlife.
Just don't do that. And people
Leave
are like,
them
but
alone.
I'm allowed.
I mean, there were, all these national parks. There was a woman not too long ago at Rocky Mountain National Park who was effing with an elk. And elk aren't friendly.
And
they're massive.
huge.
They
They're
are
so big.
huge animals.
not quite moose, but they're big.
I don't know if people think that they're like watching them on TV,
Yeah,
even though
people
it's
think
real
they're like
life.
Disney
Or
princesses and
docile,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Disney princesses.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I can commune with nature. They're gonna like
Watch me
me.
talk to the
Ah.
squirrels.
And then all of a sudden they get kicked and they got a hoof dent in their head.
Oh, God. It's wild. Because we are so far away. Technology has moved us way far away from natural selection. Right? That's not even a thing anymore among Homo sapiens. We have found the ways to keep sick people alive for a long time. There's no more natural selection. Used to be if you effed with a bison or an elk, you got killed, and you were weeded out. And that's not the case anymore. We're so far away from that. But this guy is, they say, gonna be fine. And he's got a story. Bro, one time. Because that's exactly the kind of guy who would love telling a story like that. I got kicked in the head by a bison. Oh, is that why you can't write your name anymore? Yeah, but it was awesome.
But what a day.
Like the size of a car. But I got in there.
Got the picture to prove it.
He was giving me the skunk eye, and I didn't care at all.
400 likes on Instagram.
Yup.
Hmm.
You know what I said when I turned around and left him? Bye, son.
Waiting for somebody.
Wait no longer. All right, I got a break. Mary's got to go.
I gotta go.
I gotta go
I'm
too,
gonna be-
actually.
Bye.
Oh, everybody's leaving.
I'm not.
I gotta get
going
ready.
to-
I got a big old drive tomorrow to Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, you're driving.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, wow.
I got that.
Mary. Ugh.
I'm just gonna be on Instagram Live with Good Nights Comedy Club. It's
First class mayor over here. She's like, ugh, driving
I like
to
driving.
Nashville, Tennessee. It's not that far.
Anything under 8 hours, I'd rather
Yeah.
drive.
Screw that,
doable.
dude. Anything over 4.5, I'm flying.
Well, you're bougie as hell.
Yep.
And I like having a car there. I like being able to get around.
Yeah,
I
being
like
mobile.
I
Yeah.
put my time in
I've,
the car.
I've done way more car time than you.
That's what I'm saying.
I
You
don't.
should have been done.
She's done all she wants to do.
But I prefer it, and I like having my stuff with me. I like being able to take more shoes.
More shoes?
It's true. Like when I pack,
How many shoes do you need?
I want to bring I got 3 nights of shows. I want to bring at least 3 pairs.
Oh, a different pair each night.
Yeah,
Now who's bougie?
Yeah,
a
seriously.
different kind of bougie.
Grow up, Bill.
What kind is Mary?
There's I don't know.
Hillbilly Bougie.
Hey,
Available now on iTunes, Amazon, Bandcamp.
Hey.
Music.
Who knew iTunes was still a thing? Good for you.